All right, so we have Mizzou's A team versus Harvard's A team. This is Division 1 Week 2. This is the round 1 of the match. We missed the first game. Incredible Bubachik getting a dub for Mizzou against Harvard's Jason Joe on their board 3. So Mizzou to a 1-point lead. We have here ESP 44, which is Harvard's bottom board, Ella Papanek, versus Mizzou's top board, Antipov, one of the strongest players in the league. I think Mizzou might be missing Grigory Oparin today, who is one of their strongest players. So not Mizzou's strongest lineup that we've seen, but still a very strong lineup. No matter who they bring, it's always a strong team. And here, let's stick with this game. This game started a little earlier. This is Crazy Girl against Chocolate Gummy. This is Harvard's strongest player, Aaron Jacobson, against Mizzou's bottom board. And it looks like Aaron is in a little bit of time trouble. Stopping that pass pawn. Looks like he should be picking that one up. So white takes the H pawn. Black takes the F pawn. And this is a relatively even position. 3 pawns versus 3 pawns. Minor piece versus minor piece. Black can try to coordinate on the light square complex, which will defend against the dark square bishop. I think we are still waiting on the fourth game to start, so I might need to start that for them. So Raja and Jimmy have just started. So that's good to see. They were having an issue with the pairings. Okay, so looks like Chocolate Gummy, instead of working on the light square complexes, has the pawns on dark squares, which might favor Crazy Girl. But what does favor Crazy Girl is definitely the clock. She's pushing the king back, saving her bishop. Chocolate Gummy only with 7.8 seconds. Crazy Girl with about half a minute. Playing very quick, which is very good. So black trying to just get this bishop off the board. The bishop tucks all the way back. Rook hitting the bishop now. Bishop here. Box out the knight. Hits the rook. No, putting pressure here. So the knight is needed to defend. Okay, just hitting the bishop again. So the king wants to come here and attack the knight. You can go back here. Just keep hitting the bishop. Okay, check inserted. Kick the king back. Okay, so white stepping up into the pen. Trading down here, and now this pawn might push, taking advantage of this pinned pawn here. There is a check on the c file, defending. King now hitting the rook. Rook's gonna slide over. So now we're gonna go after this pawn. King steps up. So I'm pretty sure this endgame should be a draw. But with the time pressure, anything could happen. So white giving this pawn to d6, trying to trade this off. Just a bunch of checks from black. If white ever tries to come up, oh, are you gonna take this? Was this a mistake? So taking here, king steps up. I don't know about this king move. I thought rook check could win this a4 pawn. Okay, you can check here and then take, but then pawn takes, king here maybe. No, going after this, check, king back. You can take this. I think it might just be a perpetual. Okay, so black trying to block the checks. King attacks. Now the king steps back, so I'm not sure why a4 is not being taken. Maybe there are more perpetuals. I don't know. Check. I mean, this is just a drawn endgame, but they're playing on in time pressure. At some point, you have to think. Black will go for a4 if they want to continue. Instead, now 3-2. Okay, down to their last 5 seconds. Rook here. Just threatening more checks. I don't know why they haven't. I mean, they're playing on. I don't blame Crazy Girl because Chocolate Gummy's got less than 10 seconds constantly, so there's always room for a mistake. Here they might actually go for draw now. No, check here first. Oh, okay, so the king is blocking the rook. Nope, not repeating. There goes your b6 pawn. So now they trade the a pawn. The king now threatening mate. Black has to be very cautious. Check. There goes this pawn. I mean, I don't know how many chances black had at perpetual, but has declined them. And now this b pawn might just win the game for white. It's still drawn, it seems, but black now has to be very careful. Check. King in the corner now. Might be stalemate tricks. Nope, rook moves over. King repositioning. Getting along the c file. You can't block with the rook because then the trade will be a draw. So the king steps back. Rook goes back to the back rank. Rook steps up, preparing king c6. The rook comes back along the first rank now. Check, king up, check again, king back. So now black would probably take a perpetual, would be my guess. Attacking the rook, rook over, rook check again. Nope, king back, okay. Rook check. Yeah, they're gaining time on the clock now. They could have drawn it earlier, but now white has up a pawn, so now they're gonna push. Let's look at one of the next games. So, okay, Antipov beat ESP, so let me update that. So Mizzou, a 2-0 lead. Let's look at Raja versus Jimmy. This is the last game of round 1. Besides the Crazy Girl one. This, I don't see progress being made anytime soon. This one should end up just being a draw. I don't know how long the players will play for, but with the 2-second increment, it could last forever. Oh, offer pawn trade there. Why didn't you take this? Why couldn't you take pawn takes and then king here? Would that be losing? Probably. Pawn takes king here. And then I figured king here would be stalemate. Unless the king was already here, then maybe he goes here, which gives you that, and then you lose. So, okay, that, I mean, you could have taken that. Come on. I mean, you're just, this could be like a delay of game penalty. Okay, you should be winning this. No? Oh my goodness. You take, king takes, agree to draw and move on, but okay. I guess they have the right to play on. Yeah, I don't know if this is sending a message or I don't know. Okay, 50 move rule. GG. So Mizzou's fourth board getting a draw against Harvard's top board. Hard earned half a point there for both players. So Harvard on the board. Here we have Raja versus Jimmy. This is Harvard's board 2 against Mizzou's board 3. White could have pushed that last pawn to reset the 50 move rule, but I think at that point you'd really force Black's hand to take that pawn at some point. So I don't know if the players were trying to go for maximum length of a game there, but they got close. I don't know how many moves that was. But yeah, round 2 is underway. We have 2 of the games started. The other 2 are waiting for the results of this one, Jimmy and Raja. This is the last game of round 1. So Jimmy trying to keep it close here. We have a relatively equal position. Bishop pair for white, though. Raja, under 30 seconds now. Trying to decide, do I need to trade rooks here? Or do I need to decline that? Decides bishop here, cutting the king off. Still maintaining the tension on the d file. Now Jimmy to move. Okay, Black trying to trade off that bishop, saying I'll have my knight versus your bishop in the end. Okay, Black pushing their majority. They have a 3-on-2. Bishop now forcing the issue. We have the rook now under some pressure by the bishop. So threatening to take the knight. Here, Black just saying, let's get these rooks off the board. Raja, only 12 seconds. So we could take this. No, not taking. Maintaining the bishop pair, I like it. If the knight moves, bishop here could be an issue. So bishop comes here, controlling this square. preventing the bishop from coming here. So now this pawn is protected. Bishop's going to maybe try to come here. Yeah, so bishop's here. Bishop here, threatening to win some pawns, since all these pawns are on dark squares. Yeah, I like how Raja's playing this. Now Raja is the one with the time lead. So how does black defend these pawns? They don't. I think you take this with the fork, bishop takes, and then you gobble up these pawns. Okay. White is not going for that. You would enter opposite color bishop in game, which could potentially be a draw. So now black is converting these pawns, pushing them up one by one, getting light square pawns instead of dark square pawns. And yeah, white just never took the knight. Okay, but now the knight moves, and now you win this pawn. So knight here, a questionable mistake from Jimmy. Jimmy loses the pawn, runs out of time, and loses the game. So that concludes the first round. Mizzou 3.5 to Harvard's 1/2. Let's go now to the incredible Bubachik versus ESP44, who is Ella. Incredible Bubachik getting that queen in with check, forcing the king back. So not a happy king. No, king says, I don't want to go back. I'm going to go forward. And now the king is forced forward even further. White saying, you know, if you really want to bring that king up, why don't you go all the way? Unfortunately, this isn't king of the hill. There's another check, king here. Now the queen's going to enter. Perhaps. Or this. Yep, queen check. King here. Maybe we'll see pawn check. It is not looking good. No, another queen check. King here, and now bishop here forces the queen off the board. So, incredible Bubachik should be winning this one. Ella knows it. Oh, queen check. Okay. Well, if you block with queen, you're still losing the queen. So, king steps up. Pawn check. King here. Queen here should be mate. No, there's king here. It's very close to mate. How is this not mate? Ah, pawn check. King back. Queen check and mate. Very well done by white. Incredible Bubachik improving his score to 2 for 2. Let's look at Antipov's game now. Antipov with quite the time advantage, only having used 50 seconds on his clock. Marikade, who is Jason Zhou from Harvard, board 3, only about a minute on the clock here. This king on f7 has been lured out, but looks like black should be castling by hand. So I guess there was a piece sacrifice. A knight for a pawn. I don't know if it was worth it. Black seems to be relatively safe. I mean, the king is going to have an awkward time moving out of this pen because white has the queen pinning the knight and the bishop adding pressure as well. Rook here. I wonder what you would do after rook here. But white doesn't go for that. I suspect white should be winning a piece back. I don't know how you deal with this pen. But black develops the bishop, connecting the rooks. So rook check forces either a block or the king has to give up the knight. So knight developed here maybe to just recapture the rook, not ruining the pawn structure. So Marikade, Jason here, deciding what to do with that king. I mean, maybe there's knight block, knight f5, but then there's g4. Well, that's relatively weakening. Only 16 seconds, 15. Blocks with the... That's... Okay. That's surprising. So tossing the bishop onto f5. I mean, the queen is defending it, not the knight. But the bishop's only attacked once. Now the knight moves, unleashes the bishop's attack. So now rook takes is a big threat. Also, bishop takes is a huge threat. So the king steps aside. Now the rook is defending this, but now the bishop takes the knight. So the piece is won back. Antipov up a pawn. And here we could trade this. No, giving check first. Going to take the rook now that the knight has left. King to the corner. I expect rook takes, pawn takes. Now, this bishop's going to move out, and then the rook's going to come here, no? Knight c5, hitting the bishop. Good move. Queen defending both bishops. Got to do something. Trades bishops here. Saves this bishop. Also opens up the queen's view. So defending g7. Oh my goodness. Antipov. No time on that. Flags there. So Antipov gets the win. Let's look over at Chocolate Gummy versus Raja. So Antipov also 2 for 2. Let's see. Raja, again, in a little bit of time pressure. I think they had a little time pressure last game. So this might be a recurring theme. Yet to castle. Bring the knight in. So black putting all the pieces on the queen side to attack this king. It's castle. There's a missing a pawn. These two knights, though, controlling a lot of key squares around the king. White pushing through with f6. That's also a threat on the rook. So now the knight steps in, hitting the queen. Queen steps up. How do you resolve this issue? Was f6 missed by black? A double threat. And a strong one. White is looking good here. Raja in time pressure, as well as a pickle on the board. So Chocolate Gummy might be getting a full point on the board for Harvard here in this game. Let's tune into the last board of round 2. We have Crazy Girl versus Jimmy. And Crazy Girl right now is momentarily up a queen. But their queen is pinned to their king. So looks like black could get a rook out of this. And so the rook is taken. Bishop check. Or rook check, excuse me. Blocking on d7 with the king. So, yeah, awkward position for black to be in. They can't castle. Their bishop is pinned and attacked by the knight. So I'm expecting this from Jimmy. Attacking the pinned piece. It is defended by the knight, but this also clears the way for a fork. No, just simply knight takes, and then bishop here is my guess. And that should be winning a piece for Jimmy. So Harvard here in a good spot. Well, Crazy Girl is up a rook right now, so she'll actually be up in exchange after she gives up the piece. The question is if white can go for more, because they have the bishop pair for the exchange. And so, yeah, Crazy Girl trying to block out this bishop using the defense of this bishop. So that's very smart. Rook takes now. King has to move here, most likely. And then you have your choice of pawn to take. But then black is going to activate one of their rooks. Probably this one, trying to get at the back rank. So, yep. Grab that. So this is an interesting position. White will be down in exchange, but up a few pawns and the bishop pair. Let's look at Raja's position. So it looks like Raja gave up the rook to save the bishop. White playing queen c3. Black developing bishop to e6, attacking the knight on d5. The knight on d5 is very well placed. So now the knight gives a fork. The other knight gives... What is going on here? That's a fork of the queen and the king. Oh, and the pawn is pinned. Okay, so Chocolate Gummy gets the first point for Harvard, improving now to 1.5, taking down Mizzou's board 3, Raja. Now this is the final game of round 2. Crazy Girl again up in exchange. Up on the clock as well, Jimmy. I think, did Jimmy flag in his last game? I think so. But looking to even things up here. So black lifting the rook. Going to double on the f-file. Yep. So the king steps up, attacking the bishop. Rook defending the bishop now. Jimmy, 15 seconds. Pushing the pawn through. Attacking the rook. Rook pinning the pawn to the bishop. Bishop attacking the rook now. If you take this... I mean, isn't... Okay, no, there's going to be a check. Winning the rook. Okay, so the pawn is immune. Can't go here. If you go here... I mean, maybe the pawn pushes again. Or we'll see bishop here, perhaps. Yeah, bishop here. Is this some sort of draw? As the rooks are tied down to the defense of the bishop. So Jimmy might be going for a draw here. I mean, he's very low on the clock. He's playing a stronger opponent. Yep. Jimmy found something here. So does black want to continue the game down a piece? Or do you take the draw? It would be the bishop pair versus a rook, which should favor white. The question is, where do you put the rook? Okay. Yeah, if she goes back at 5, yeah, that's repetition. Okay, Crazy Girl deciding not to continue on. Doesn't want to play with the rook versus the bishop pair. If you move the rook elsewhere, like here, white takes here. And then maybe you could take here or something to get a pawn back. And then rook takes with a check. And then maybe try to attack these pawns. But yeah, bishop pair would be very strong. So, ending up with a draw there. All right, so Crazy Girl now up to 1 point. And that was Jimmy now on the board. So, Mizzou leading 6-2. Going into round 3. Mizzou only needing 2.5 more points to secure the win. Okay, here we go. Early g4 from white here. So Antipov, castle queenside, playing g4, anticipating black will castle kingside. Now knight comes in, attacking the queen, attacking g4. Now the queen can move, and can that knight take on g4? Is that a free pawn? Well, even if it is a free pawn, there's some compensation. White will open the g file. So queen to g3. Now I'm thinking knight e takes on g4. Because if you have bishop takes on f6, then the knight can take back. And I don't think you want to do queen takes, knight takes, bishop takes, because then there would be knight here with the fork on the rooks. So trading off, the queen steps out of that pen. Bishop trades now, doubling the pawns here. So black will probably not be castling kingside. So now the knight hops in to c4, opposite the king, controlling these squares. The bishop takes that immediately. Queen takes. And black will probably try to castle. Queenside is my guess. Always play king b1, protecting that a2 square. And black now launching the b pawn. White trying to open up the center. Will black close it with a move like e5, attacking the knight? No, continues forward, pushing b4, attacking the knight. White takes on e6, hitting the bishop, threatening check. So white undoubles black's pawns. And now moves the knight back to e2. Can we play e5, attacking this knight that's defending this knight? What happens if this? Maybe we'll play this, kicking the queen out. You can't retreat here because the knight controls it. So once the queen moves, then the knight moves. So we do have e5, and we do have b3. And now the queen can't go anywhere to maintain pressure on the knight on e2. So the knight will be saved. The queen will step back along the c file to c7. Now the knight hops in to f5. The bishop takes immediately. We take with the g pawn, reconnecting our central pawns, opening the g file. Black still yet to castle. Gonna be hard trying to find a permanent home. So after playing b3, white has some dark square weaknesses. And the dark square bishop that black has a bunch of pawns in the way. It's going to be difficult for the bishop to get in and attack those weaknesses. Maybe black will prepare d5. Maybe castle's queenside. But queen c6 attacking e4. Queen f3 defends. Now black expanding on the king side with h5. Perhaps preparing bishop to h5, or h6, excuse me. If bishop h6 a move earlier, queen to h5 was a fork, losing the bishop for black, so h5 makes sense. Now the knight hops in, attacking h5. Will we see h4? Even if h4, the knight could still land on h5, defended by the queen, looking at f6. Which could be annoying for black. So white sneaking in that c4 move. I'm wondering what would have happened if black took en passant. Anyways, the king steps up now. And there goes that h-pawn. So white just grabbing a pawn. Black continuing the attack on the queen side, trying to get at b3, opening up the a file. So both kings under a bit of pressure. Wow. c5 from white. That is a pawn gambit. Trying to get at this black king, trying to open up some lines, perhaps the C file or the D file. So the D file is now opened at the price of a pawn. Antipov giving up that pawn with check, trying to get the queen in. What happens if rook g8? I mean, I'm just taking that pawn with check, but maybe that loses immediately. Because you take that pawn with check. Oh my goodness. So there's rook d7, but there's queen takes f5, which covers that. So king tucks away in the corner. I'm taking on f5 too. Queen takes f5. Kind of seems forced. You don't want to allow rook d7. Oh, okay. Knight sacrifice. Lining the king and queen up along the f file. You don't have to take, though. Either king takes or queen takes should lose to rook f1. Either rook. So black gonna try to find something else, perhaps. If rook d7 now, king maybe to e6, attacking the rook and the knight, and also getting the king and queen off the same file. I think, could black play a takes b now, opening the a file, which threatens mate in 1. A takes b. No, bishop, that's gotta be a mistake. Rook d7 now. Rook f1 played, just attacking the queen. Not a fan of... Okay, so queen takes the knight. Rook d7 now. King e6. What else? King e6. Rook takes f6. Bishop takes f6. And then queen to g4. Checking the king. Okay, king steps back to e8. And now rook takes was pre-moved. Bishop takes. Queen coming in to e6. This is game over for Jimmy. Jimmy, I think he needed to play a takes b, trying to open up the a file. But didn't find it. So he has a check. But queen e6, you can't stop. So maybe like bishop e7, rook h7, but not even that. So Antipov winning that one. That was a very close game. But Jimmy couldn't find... Only takes now, a little late. But yeah, that bishop g7 move cost him the game, I think. All right, incredible Bubachik here. Trying to go 3 for 3, just like his leader, Antipov, against Chocolate Gummy, Harvard's top board. So, looks like white has this pass pawn that's pretty deep on d6. Bishop d5, though, locking it down. Threatening to take on d6 next with the double rooks on the d file. So I like this move a lot. And the knight is somewhat pinned for white. If you move it to anywhere besides e4, you're getting mated on g2. So we've got a really strong bishop there on d5. And so it looks like the material is going to be even after black regains that d6 pawn. Black is missing an h-pawn, and white is pushing their h-pawn. So queen comes up to f4, attacking the rook, but the rook is defended. Rook steps back anyways. So even position, but a really strong bishop for black. White maybe going to push h5. White also has a time advantage, about double the time, which is good. here, Marikaday, only 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Living off the increment. Attacking F3. Rook defending. Trying to trade the rooks, maybe. No, resignation. So Crazy Girl getting her first point, her full point. Improving now to 2 out of 3. Can't complain. Ella losing to Raja. So Raja, after losing that last game, bounces back. Here we've got the last game of round 3. So Mizzou only needs a draw to secure the win, but I'm sure they're going to go for more, especially knowing that they have the whole 4th round to do so. So Harvard's going to need to win out the rest of the match to draw it. We'll see if that happens. Okay, Black going for queen trade, which would double Black's pawns. The king is on the H file, which is kind of interesting. Knight diving in, attacking F6. Knight check. Should get the bishop back. King stepping up, being a brave piece. Incredible Bubachik, less than 10 seconds. Okay, knight over. King back. This is an offer of repetition. Is knight f4 the best move? Yes. Check. Okay, knight coming all the way back to e2. Rerouting. Both players less than 10 seconds on the clock. Okay, so the bishop offers rook trade. White declines the rook trade. Grabbing a pawn here. Is Black better? Knight attacking f5. No, attacking f4. f5 was played. And then White gets a fork with the rook. Okay, so White has won an exchange for a pawn, but Black still maintains a very strong bishop. So now b4 is attacked. b4 on a dark square. Yeah, king e5, negating any potential exchange sacrifices. Okay, taking advantage of the pinned bishop. Rook c4, very, very useful. And now we might see rook to d4. Rook from d to... Yeah, rook from d to d4. No. So the king gets out of the pin. White doubles up again. Now bringing the king in to defend b4, freeing up the rook. So the rook steps back. Both players under 10 seconds. Attacking g2. Check. Rook back to defend. Rook check. King up. Grabbing on b3. Check. King back. Less than 10 seconds. Going after the g pawn now. King check. Do not go to the a file. Oh my god. Oh, there's rook a3. Okay. Oh, also the bishop was covering a2. Never mind. All right, so Black... Oh, wait. Oh, but then rook a8. Oh, White's winning. Yeah, you couldn't... I would have gone to the c file because I was afraid of the 2 rooks. And so Black just missed that. I mean, they saw they could block on a2, but the problem is rook a8 wins the piece. So now we've got triple isolated pawns for Black. And yeah, he's just pushing these guys. I mean, yeah, White's shuffling this king back and forth, waiting for the Black king to move. So Black's going to try to navigate these pawns forward, but the rook is just going to gobble them up one by one. So, yeah, I don't think the pawn's going to live much longer, and neither will the king. So, unfortunate end to that very exciting game. Bubachik maintaining the perfect score. Unfortunate for Chocolate Gummy. Played a heck of a game. So Mizzou improving to 10-2. Wins the match. Round 4 is underway. Wait, this isn't the right opponent. Who is this? Well, a little warm-up game here. I don't know who this is, but we can look at, this is the top boards from Harvard and Mizzou. Wow, players playing these moves very quickly. Chocolate gummy up to 521. I wonder if there's a record of the most time a player has had on their clock in one of our matches. But 521 is up there. Okay, they have agreed to a draw, which is kind of funny. Okay, anyways. White playing b5, trying to strike at black's pawn center. The base point of c6. Trying to weaken up those pawns a little bit. So I like this move. If you push through, d5 will hang. Knight takes. So, do you take or do you let them take? Perhaps we'll see a knight move. I don't know if you want to give that up so freely. Probably you take, is my guess. No, queen here makes a lot of sense. So it takes, queen takes, knight here. Defended by the bishop. Knight looking to get a fork in on the rooks. So you don't want to go here because of this. So maybe you go here. Maybe this is coming as well. Attacking this pawn. Okay, attacking the bishop. This is a very committal move, g5. So I'm expecting the bishop to tuck back, maintaining its view along this diagonal. Oh, okay, so the bishop attacking the rook. So that's another reason for g5. Frees up this bishop to get on this diagonal. So the white rook should move. Maybe here, maybe here. The b file is completely open, so only after white moves the rook will black respond to the knight c7 threat, would be my guess. No, knight c7 right away, just trying to trade down pieces, which also makes a lot of sense because black will potentially give up the dark square bishop, which is one of the defenders of the king, after you push a move like g5. So does black take on, yeah, okay, so takes the rook and white not taking a rook back, just maintaining the fork. Those rooks aren't going anywhere anytime soon, so the knight will take the rook at its leisure. So taking that dark square bishop right away, not letting it go back, and so now the king steps up to g7 in the bishop's place, trying to control some dark squares. And yeah, chocolate gummy in a good spot here. A very weak black king. No dark square bishop. White with the bishop pair. deciding when to take the rook, which rook to take, how to do it best. Trying to get as much pressure possible. So bishop in, defended by the knight, attacking the queen, hitting the knight on d7, giving up a pawn, queen takes. And how do we continue this? I mean, maybe, is there going to be knight takes on e6? Yeah. Knight takes on e6, not taking a rook, but now d7 falls. Bishop takes. So we have a bishop pair versus a rook, which should be good for white. Can queen take on d5? That's my question. It's risky because rook d8 puts your bishop in a pin. But maybe you have some check. Wow, okay, taking on d5. Is rook d8 the follow-up? I mean, the rook on the on a8 is hanging currently. What do you do after rook d8? There's queen c6, attacking the queen. And then if the queen moves, not trading, let's say attacking the rook on a1, you could play rook to d1, defending the bishop. So Chocolate Gummy trying to take down this top board from Mizzou, who's undefeated so far, perhaps facing his strongest opponent yet. Let's look at the bottom boards here. Crazy Girl versus Ella from Harvard. Looks like Ella's up a lot of material here. Something went wrong. Was that rook just hanging? Bishop here, rook lift, knight takes. I mean, the rook on c1 is just chilling. Knight takes on f4, and there's no rook follow-up going for mate. So yeah, that's just a piece. Not just any piece, a whole rook and 2 pawns. So not looking good for Crazy Girl. Ella perhaps going to get her first points on the board as well. Here's Raja's game versus Murikaday. Strong bishop check. King pretty much forced over. The queen. Oh, bishop here is coming next. You're going to have to give up the exchange to save your queen. So Murikaday up some material, but going to lose some material. It's all give and take. Let's look at Jimmy's game real quick against Bubachik. That's a nice fork from Jimmy. And okay. Trading that bishop. Queen takes with check. The rook and queen are tied down to this knight. Very sensitive piece here. Black, some space advantage, definitely, on the king side. White taking here. Going to be winning f7, it seems. Knight back, attacking e5. So these pawns now are kind of weak after this capture. Doubled and isolated. But white getting a pawn back. Queen check, knight takes, attacking the queen. Queen steps back. Rook doubled on the d file. So this king has back rank issues. Queen takes on h4. Knight now. Going to be landing a devastating check on f2. Do you lift here and sack the exchange? There's going to be knight check. Knight discover. Okay. So giving up the exchange this way, grabbing the G pawn, freeing up a square for the king. I like this a lot. So rook takes now. Oh, the bishop is covering this check along the back ring. So that's very important. I want to look at Chocolate Gummy's game. This one's very interesting. We have the bishop pair versus a rook. Wait a second. Okay, so they do play rook d8, and then after some consideration, white has played bishop here attacking the queen. So trying to go for a queen trade this way, which is very peculiar. Because now queen is attacking the rook. We might need to... Oh, we can also just take this now. So take here, and then here, threatening mate. But then there's a bishop move. And now, you know, white's saying, I have a mate of my own. So that was a check. I mean, black played this instantaneously. King steps up. Another queen check. Did you go up again? Can you go up again? After this, there's a check here. No, king steps back here. I mean, there's another check. There's just a lot of checks. Maybe not too many. But this is a good one. Yep. King steps up. Queen check again. What's wrong with this and that and this? Oh, there's just that. Never mind. All right, ignore me. Yeah. Thanks, Chuck. I'm trying to make moves for white from black's perspective. So, Antipov, 40 seconds, trying to find if they have anything more. Let's look at this one. Crazy Girl and Ella. So Ella's still up a whole rook. Well, maybe not a whole rook. An exchange and 3 pawns. But both players living off the increment. Oh, there goes the queen. Wait, no, the queens are traded. Okay. Rook attacking the bishop. We've got all the pawns in the world. This pawn's hit. So the threat maybe takes, and then skewer or pen, whatever you want to call it. King gets off the diagonal. King lifts up. Pushing the pawns. Attacking the rook. Both rooks attacking here. Activating the rooks. Maybe, okay, winning a pawn. Losing a pawn. Pushing the pawns. Continuing the pawn push. Rook takes. This is a... Okay. There's a check here. No, attacking the knight. You got to move the knight, but then there's going to be check and mate. Yep. All right. So, Ella gets her first point. I think Raja beat Marikaday. Okay, hold up. Something went wrong in this one. Queen check, pawn push, bishop check, attacking the queen. Queen steps up. Another check, winning the rook, but then getting mated. Oh my goodness, this bishop. This bishop. Yeah, rook here with the pen. White went wrong fast with this, trying to grab the material, but then this king lined up with the pawns here. Very resourceful here for black to find all of these checks. Yeah, allowing this, I think queen takes, king h2, rook e1. You got to move this bishop. I think. And they went here. Apparently, it's saying bishop to b8 is the only winning continuing line for white. Anywhere else along the diagonal is a draw or worse, which is just crazy. Like the difference between this and this. Because bishop here, I guess, frees up the queen along the d file. So bishop to d6 makes a lot of sense because you're pointing at the king. You're trying to give checks of your own. But maybe you need, like, bishop c7 even as a draw, apparently, which is really interesting. We're going to have to go back maybe and look at that. But yeah, this round, Ella wins for Harvard, but I think everyone else lost. I think Mizzou. Yeah, so Raja gets a point. And then I think Bubacek and Mikhail both going flawless today. So final score 13-3.